What's up, everyone? It's Christina from the Pink Pixie Dust, and there is so much happening at Disneyland right now. This year is the Disneyland Resort's 70th birthday. There's also going to be a Walt Disney animatronic being released. The Food and Wine Festival is coming up later this month. There is just a whole lot of stuff Disney related. So let's get into this video right now. I am so excited for what's coming this year. Most excited for the Walt Disney animatronic. Now, Disney Imagineers have been working on this for a really long time, and it's going to be opened on July 17th of 2025, which is Disneyland's 70th birthday. It's opening at the Main Street Opera House in July. I think we've been wanting something like this for a really long time because when you walk into the park, you're immediately overwhelmed with all of the vibes at the park. You can smell popcorn, you can smell churros, you can hear that wonderful like merry-go-round type of music that they play in Main Street. And now with this Walt animatronic that's going to be situated literally right when you enter the park, there's no better way to enter the park than by being welcomed by Walt Disney himself. The Disneyland 70th birthday is definitely going to be absolutely amazing. They've already started sharing photos of the decor and the pink and purple. I am so here for that. Those are my favorite colors growing up, and just that shade of pink, like that magenta and the purple, they just look so pretty. Disneyland's 70th birthday celebration will start on May 16th and will continue throughout the summer, and this is expected to be a pretty big deal. Now, Disney is going to be bringing back Paint the Night, which is their nighttime spectacular. So it's going to be an electrical parade with fireworks, and all of those lights are all LEDs. So they are just expected to shine super bright. I am pretty excited. I grew up loving the electrical parade, but back then they were not LEDs. So I mean, they were still bright, but they're not going to shine the way these thousands of LEDs are going to shine at nighttime. So I think we have a lot to look forward to. We can expect beautiful new outfits from our beloved characters, new merch, new food items to try, and more details will be released as we get closer to May. In terms of ride updates, the monorail has been closed for, it feels like forever, but it reopens on March 7th. So it's coming up. There's just something so magical about the monorail. Like every time it zips by, it's just like, oh, the monorail. But yeah, we've been missing it. So we're ready to have her come back in just a few short weeks. At the Disneyland Resort, It's a Small World is still closed. They are still flipping it back from holiday Small World to regular, and they haven't announced when it's going to be reopened yet. I mean, it's already February. I feel like it should be open by now, but who knows? Maybe they're doing some extra refurbishments that the ride needs, so no known date yet. Jolly Holiday has been closed since the beginning of the year and will reopen in March as well. So it looks like they're getting a pretty big makeover indeed. Don't get me wrong, I love Jolly Holiday just because of how original it is to when the park first opened in 1955. But there's something just so musty about it, you know, when you come in and just the cases, it's like they're fogged up, and you know that the food like hasn't been sitting there for that long. But sometimes when you're sitting in places that look like that, you know, you can't help but wonder, or it just doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing as it does in the new sweets shop or as it does in even Candy Palace, you know? So I feel like Disneyland finally realized like, oh, we need to elevate our game at Jolly Holiday to keep up with the rest of the attractions at the parks, or else it's going to be like, what's going on over here? You know, it's like old and it's like too old. I mean, even Pooh Corner like is fun, it's cute, it's updated, but you still get that nostalgia, you know, from being in there. So I hope that Disney figures out a way to maintain the nostalgia and the integrity of the space while making it more modern, more inviting, and more appetizing for people. Great news, the railroad is finally reopening again on March 7th. I have missed it so much. It's just so magical when you walk into Disneyland and then the first thing you see is the railroad going by. It just hasn't felt the same without it. And then also seeing that big fence there, it just takes away from the magic of walking into the park. So I can't wait to have our railroad back. Obviously, there's a bunch of other rides that contribute to that nostalgia, but the monorail and the railroad just really complete that I'm at Disneyland feeling. Indy fans, Indiana Jones is going to be closing on March 17th for refurbishments. That ride allegedly always breaks down, but it's probably because there's always a crazy line for that ride. So that ride is probably like, they haven't said when they're going to be reopening it yet. So just stay tuned for that. Make sure you get as many rides in as you can. It's just so hard. I feel like ever since they made those new changes to Indiana Jones, the wait has always been minimum for 40 minutes. Like, good luck getting on Indiana Jones. I think I was able to ride it in January. I think there was like one night that I stayed at the park super late, and then I was able to ride it. The wait was like 20 minutes. But aside from that, usually it's always like minimum 40. At DCA, Grizzly River Run is currently closed and will reopen on March 14th. Disney, you definitely did it right by doing any refurbishments on Grizzly River Run now and not the summertime, because you guys, the line for Grizzly River Run during the summertime is absolutely insane. It is so insane. I would say that's probably the most popular ride at DCA, right next to Incredicoaster. It's really wild, like how busy that ride gets. I've actually never been on it, so maybe this summer I'll have to make it a goal to go on it. I finally got to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and I thought it was absolutely spectacular. I loved the new animatronics. I loved her singing. I thought that they paid a really great homage to the movie. During that last incline, when you're going all the way up the hill and then you go down that massive drop, there's this light shining down right on you, and it just feels like you're having this like coming to Jesus moment where it's like, oh my God, I'm going towards the light. This is crazy. And then you go down. I loved Splash Mountain. That was my absolute favorite ride of all time. So when they closed it, I was really sad and I didn't know how I was going to respond to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. But Disney really knocked it out of the park. I thought it was so beautifully done, so fun, very peaceful. I mean, aside from that big drop at the end, you really feel like you're going on like a bayou adventure. If you haven't gone on it yet, I highly, highly recommend you go on it. I didn't get that wet, but there were two people sitting in front of me. They were both like decked out in their ponchos. So I would say don't sit in the front if you don't want to get wet. But if you are down to get wet, you got a poncho on, then yeah, sit in the front. But I would say any row behind that, you have a pretty good chance of staying dry. The red trolley car at DCA had its last run on February 9th. It is permanently closed, which is really sad because it's always been such a classic part of DCA. It actually was part of DCA when they opened the park in 2001. But the reason why they're closing it is so that they can make more room for Avengers Campus when they open up Stark Flight Lab and Avengers Infinity Defense, which they've started construction on those two rides in early January. So they're starting to make room, bringing in all of the materials. They started gating off areas, and construction on these two rides, they don't know when they will be completed just yet because it's a pretty big undertaking. I mean, Avengers Campus is getting a major facelift, which I'm so excited about because right now I feel like Avengers Campus is just a tiny little bubble just kind of in the middle of DCA. You have Cars Land, which is absolutely epic. And then you have Hollywood Studios, which is also really cute, has its own little personality. And then Avengers Campus is just kind of there. You have the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which is a super fun ride, but that's pretty much all they really have. And then Pim's Test Kitchen and then the shawarma place. I am so excited for these two rides to come to Avengers Campus because it's gonna make the whole area so much more poppin'. You know when you go to Cars Land and you can just take a seat at Flo's 8 and you can just enjoy the vibe, and there's just like a lot going on. You could literally spend an entire afternoon at Cars Land. You can go shopping, you can go eat, you can ride Radiator Springs, you can take photos. There's just a lot going on. There's that Mater ride, which I will never go on because it just looks insane. It looks like the teacup ride, except you're riding on Mater. So no, thank you. But there's so much going on at Cars Land where you can literally just take a seat and just relax there. And I don't get that same feeling from when I'm at Avengers Campus, but I do think with the incorporation of two new rides, that will definitely change. One more exciting piece of Disney news. This is not parks related, but Cinderella's 75th birthday is this year. So Cinderella premiered on March 4th, 1950. And so all of these different companies have just launched different types of Cinderella merch. There's this new pin collection that Disneyland now has, and you can just collect all these pins and they make the shape of the glass slipper. There's this one Loungefly backpack that I am so in love with. It's pink. It's actually the dress that the animals made for her before she went to the ball for real because it was like her sister's stuff. Have you guys actually watched that scene as an adult where the stepsisters like tear all of the pieces off of Cinderella's dress. The background is red. Like if you watch it again, the background is red. They're like yelling at her and it keeps jumping from Cinderella to them and then ripping a piece of clothing and ripping the necklace. It's actually kind of traumatizing. Like I was like, this is horrible. This poor girl, like, oh my God, she's literally been through so much. And I think it's one of the reasons why I relate to Cinderella so much is like I understand what it's like to, struggle with family or have differences with family, and so I really feel for her. And so when she gets her happily ever after, it's just like, ugh. Now as an adult, when I watch Cinderella, I cry my eyes out. It's just so good. I've noticed that with a lot of Disney movies where the main character is going through a lot of hardship, they still somehow remain a very kind person. And I think that's what Walt was really trying to teach, that no matter what happens to these characters, like if you continue to be kind and you continue to be good, like eventually it will work out for you. Like Snow White, same thing with her. Her stepmother is trying to kill her just because of the way she looks. And so she has to leave her home, leave her castle to go live in the woods with these like 7 midgets. Like this poor girl. Again, Arthur from The Sword and the Stone, he gets adopted by this random guy, not even his blood relative, and treats him like a servant, but he still does it happily. And then eventually in the end, everything works out and he becomes, no big deal, King of England. It's one of the lessons from earlier Disney movies that I really, really appreciate. It's that idea of maintaining who you are as a person and not letting the things that happen to you harden you. It's more like letting those things help you grow as an individual and be a better person. I wanted to share some fun facts about Cinderella that you probably didn't know, because I didn't know them, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to share just because it is Cinderella's 75th birthday, that old lady. There is a hidden Mickey when Cinderella sings Sweet Nightingale. Disney animators often include Mickey Mouse in their movies, and Cinderella is no exception. You can spot Mickey's head among the bubbles while Cinderella sings Sweet Nightingale, which is such a beautiful song. I was like actually singing it the other day, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. How come this song is not as popular as it should be? Cinderella was the first Disney princess to share a duet with her love interest. I beg to differ, though, because at the very beginning of Snow White, when she's at the wishing well and she's singing to the animals, she's telling them, this is a wishing well, and what you're supposed to do is make a wish, and it's going to come true. And then almost immediately after that, the prince shows up, and then he starts singing to her. So, I mean, it's obviously not the same song, but he's singing also. So it is kind of a duet. I think Snow White was first. Sorry, Cinderella. This one actually really cracks me up. Lucifer's name. Walt Disney chose the name Lucifer for Cinderella's cat because he disliked cats. Lucifer was created for comic relief. Eileen Woods voiced Cinderella, beating out 309 other girls for the part. I mean, she's made for Cinderella. I can't even imagine another voice being Cinderella. In 1950, the film cost about $3 million to produce. Prince Charming's name is never given in the film. Nobody cares. In earlier versions of the story, Cinderella wore magic rings or magic slippers made of gold, silver, or fur. Can you imagine if Cinderella wore a fur slipper? It's like, yo, Cinderella's been wearing Uggs since 1950. Well, I guess we're all wearing magic slippers then, because we've all been wearing Uggs. And this is probably my favorite because this is so random. The Cinderella theme may date back to the 1st century. And now it's time to talk about the Food and Wine Festival that's going to be taking place at DCA this year. It starts on Friday, February 28th. You can purchase a Sip and Savor Pass, 8 items. And if it feels daunting, then you can always just do a la carte, but it works the same way it worked at Lunar New Year. So you can purchase your pass, and then it's good for the entire time. So if you leave the park and then you come back, maybe like a month or so later when the Food and Wine Festival is still going on, then you can still use those items. So I would say just get the Sip and Savor Pass, get a few items, come back, get a few items, come back, and then get a few items, and it'll be good for the entire season. We have a choice of 2 different types of Sip and Savor passes. There's a magenta one, which take a wild guess which one I'm gonna get, and then a lime green. So they're just super fun. Mickey in a chef outfit. I need a cool chef outfit because I am a really avid cook. Like I love to cook, and so I don't know why I don't have a chef outfit yet. I need Mickey ears with a chef hat on it. or a chef hat with Mickey ears. I'm not gonna go over all the items today because it is a really lengthy list, but I am gonna call out some of my favorites. The first one being the sirloin Gruyere mac and cheese with black garlic chimichurri and garlic butter crunch. There was a dish that they had last year that was similar to this. It was like sirloin with like Thai chilies, and it was just so good. Just the meat was just so nicely marinated. The food at DCA, I'm going to give it to them, is very, very good. You're going to get some really good quality food. So if you're a foodie, go to DCA, do yourself a favor, go and enjoy some food, enjoy the magic of being at Disneyland. I mean, not Disneyland, but being the magic of Disney and then getting good food out of it also. There's a musubi fried rice that sounds kind of interesting to me. I've never actually had musubi before. So musubi is a Hawaiian dish, and so they take Spam, cook it with like soy sauce and I think like a few other sauces, put it on top of a little piece of egg and then on top of rice and then wrapped in seaweed. And it looks really good. Like when I see people eating it, I'm like, ooh, that actually sounds good. I'm not like really big on seaweed, but just everything together just sounds really good. The musubi fried rice is Aulani Resort inspired steamed rice with eggs, glazed spiced ham, umami mayo, and furikake. I'm definitely interested, but it's not something that I like really, really want to get. It's probably on my if I see it, if I'm into it, I'll try it. There is a mini LA street dog that sounds amazing. I love hot dogs, but sometimes they're just too big. Like award wieners. I love award wieners. I would eat an award wiener every time I go to DCA, but it's just so filling. I just can't eat wieners all the time like that. I'm saying wiener a lot. But I like that this is a mini wiener. So it's like a nice little taste and then you can go and enjoy other types of food. So this one's definitely on my list because I love hot dogs and I love that this is a mini size one. So then you can go and enjoy other things. There's gonna be a Western barbecue bao burger that sounds like the perfect marriage between a bao and a burger. I've actually been to a restaurant where they did something kind of like that, except it was Asian style. So it was Asian style bao burgers. And it actually worked really well. The only difference is that the buns is made of the bao and then you just have a meat patty in the middle of it. And it's just actually really, really tasty. So I'm excited. That's going to be on my list for sure. There's a birria mac and cheese, which sign me up for that. Sign me up for anything birria. I love birria. Now, what's also really good at DCA, and they have this all the time, is at Rancho Cucamonga. They have these birria tacos with a consomme sauce and just, oh my God. It's probably one of the best things that you can get at DCA is the quesabirria tacos. I think that's what it's called at Rancho Cucamonga. It's just, oh my God. If you've never tried them, get them. Maybe not next time you go to DCA because you should definitely go do the Food and Wine Festival, but sometime when you're at DCA, because they have them year round, you've got to add those to your list. Okay, I don't have to get anything at the Food and Wine Festival. I don't have to get anything. I only want this one thing, and it is the Café de Olla Tres Leches cake. I'm obsessed with Tres Leches cake. I think it's just one of the most delicious desserts ever. So if you don't know what a Tres Leches cake is, it's essentially a spongy vanilla cake that has been soaked in evaporated milk, condensed milk, and regular milk. So that's why it's called Tres Leches, because there's 3 different types of milk in it. And it's so sweet, and it's just the texture. It reminds me of, there's an Indian dessert called ras malai, and it's kind of like similar texture. It's like spongy, and then it's like soaked in like milk, like sugar and milk. And it's just like, oh, so delicious. But this looks so good. I cannot get enough of this. Now it has a what is a piloncillo chantilly cream? I don't even know what that is. Piloncillo is Mexican style unrefined whole cane sugar. So it's actually good for you. It's not refined sugar. Piloncillo chantilly, cinnamon with a Mickey shaped cookie on top. Like I said, if I get anything at the Food and Wine Festival, it's definitely going to be that cake. I honestly think that's going to be the first thing that I go do. Now, this sounds really good. It's the shrimp papas locas, which is cheddar bacon potatoes with jalapeno cheese sauce and spicy shrimp featuring Tajín chili lime sauce. Woo! Now, I'm not big on seafood at theme parks, but I would try this. Get a load of this macaron. So this is a Mickey-shaped macaron made with Snickers bar pieces, chocolate Mickey-shaped macaron filled with caramel ganache made with Snickers bar pieces. And it's real Snickers because they actually have the name Snickers on here. So this isn't even like, wholesale peanuts, nougat, chocolate treat. This is Snickers. And this sounds pretty wild. I don't know if I've ever had a macaron with actual pieces of a candy bar in it before. So this will be really interesting. This definitely getting added to my list of 8 items also. If you're looking for an alcohol recommendation, I unfortunately can't really give you one because I'm not planning on drinking. I'm probably one of the few adults that go to Disney and doesn't drink. But if I had to drink, here, hold on. I will pick something for you. Here, we'll figure this out. We're going to figure this out. Oh, this is actually a really pretty looking drink. So that's why I would say you should get this. It is the green apple slush cocktail, which is green apple beatbox, what's green apple beatbox? Blue curacao syrup, melon liqueur, kiwi puree, and lime juice garnished with a shark gummy. That's your drink. That's what you got to get. It has a shark gummy in it, okay? This is what you've got to get. It looks so fun, too. I mean, part of like the drinking experience at Disney, I would think if I did drink alcohol, is getting those like really fun drinks to just, like let you feel some sort of vibe when you're at the park. I don't know. What's cool about the Food and Wine Festival is that there is that main area where all of the little street carts are, where you can get a lot of items, but then some of the restaurants also have specialty items that you can go and get. So at Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, they have a smoked Hawaiian pizza, which actually sounds bomb. Spicy marinara, smoked mozzarella, glazed ham, and charred pineapple. The pizza at Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta is actually really good. I had some last year during Pixar Fest, and I was actually really surprised how good the pizza was over there. I honestly really like the pizza at Disneyland. I know some people have like mixed feelings about it, but I like the pizza there. I also actually really like the pizza at Alien Pizza Planet. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's great. Let's talk Clarabelle's hand-scooped ice cream. There is a strawberry shortcake that looks absolutely divine. Now, this is angel food cake, vanilla ice cream, strawberry syrup, whipped topping, and fresh strawberries. This looks so good. Disney is literally knocking it out of the park right now. I am so impressed. I know I said that I was only going to call out a few items, like, oh, I'm not going to go over everything. I'm just going to call a few out. But there are a lot of really good looking items that sound really good. Just the descriptions just make them sound really great. Like, oh, okay, I would try that. I would try that. I would try that. So we've got ourselves like a pretty good list going. At Cocina Cucamonga. I know I called it Rancho Cucamonga. It's Cocina Cucamonga. There is a strawberry horchata, which sounds delicious, but you could get strawberry horchata from anywhere. But it does sound good. So it's a sweet rice beverage with cinnamon and strawberry puree, but you can get strawberry horchata from anywhere. But one of the things that I really love about Disney is how they bring different cultures to you. So maybe if you're visiting from out of town and you just don't have access to really good horchata, then try one at Disney. I live in LA, so I have tons of access to horchata. So that's why I'm like, I could get that down my street. Okay, whoa, here's another alcoholic beverage if you're interested. There's an horchata with rum, which if you've ever had horchata before, it's very cinnamony, almost like rice pudding with rum. Oh, that's such a great pairing. Honestly, that's a really good pairing. So it's sweet rice beverage with cinnamon and a shot of rum. So they serve you the shot on the side. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they do that. I guess if you want to just take it by itself and then have your horchata, or if you want to pour it in so they give you an option. That's interesting. This sounds really good, and I might actually be down for this. So at Cozy Cone Motel 5, which is the pop cone, they have a corn chip chili pie. Oh, but it's Impossible beef. Maybe not then. When I was in middle school, it was called the Bulldog Kennel because that's where we would get our food because we were the Bulldogs. And they had this one dish that we would buy, and it was chili. And they would serve it with corn chips and cheese on top. And it was, obviously it's horrible for you. It's like Stag's canned chili. But it tasted so good. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, it's like my childhood. I'm totally getting that. But then when I saw Impossible meat, I was like, meh. Moving on to Paradise Garden Grill, there is a pair of al pastor tacos, which have pineapple achiote marinated pork with an avocado spread, tomatilla salsa served with Spanish rice, refried beans, and topped with queso fresco. That sounds really good. I love tacos, and I know I could probably get them in LA somewhere, but Disney does tacos pretty good too. I don't think I've ever had tacos at Disneyland where I've been disappointed. Their taco game is pretty on point. And finally, let's talk churros. So now there were a few that actually really jumped out at me that I thought sounded really, really good. So the first one is a creme brulee churro, which is pastry cream, strawberry coulis, and crushed bruleed sugar on top. And that's just like, oh, I have very high hopes for that one. I wish that they did cream on the inside of the churro though, because it doesn't sound like there's any, well, wait a minute. Pastry cream, but it doesn't say, it looks like it's on top. Just kind of looking at this picture, it looks like it's sitting on top. They should have put it inside. That would have been amazing. Like you bite into the churro and then there's like cream on the inside and the sugar on top. Like, oh my God, that you could really do some damage with a churro like that. The other one that sounded really interesting to me is the mango sticky rice inspired churro, which is a classic churro rolled in sugar with sticky rice and mango pieces. Now I love mango sticky rice. It's one of my favorite desserts in the world. So I'm open to trying this. I'm just so curious like what it's gonna taste like. I mean, if you just look at the photo, it looks like it's like a rice sauce. Like, did they turn this into rice sauce? I mean, maybe it's literally just gonna be like rice sauce with mango, but I'm still down to give it a shot just because I love mango sticky rice. And that's all I got for you. Those are some of the highlights on the list. Obviously, there's a way more intensive list that you can look at, which I'll link below. It's the foodie guide for the Food and Wine Festival. Check it out, get your Soup and Savor pass, and head on over to the parks. There's a lot going on this spring, a lot coming up later this year with the Disney 70th anniversary celebration, and then Walt's animatronic being opened on July 17th, and then we're in the holidays already. I know, we need to slow it down. We're not even anywhere near summer yet, so let's just like slow it down a little bit. I can't believe we're almost into March. Can you guys believe that? This year is already just like zipping by. Make sure that you hit that like button if you liked this video. Drop me a comment. Let me know which food items you would possibly try, either from this video or in the foodie guide. Check it out and tell me if there's anything that you would want to try, anything that you think I should go and try that sounds maybe a little weird, interesting, or really off the wall. I'm down to try off the wall items because I pretty much eat everything. Like there's nothing where I'm like, nah, I won't do that unless it's alcohol. That's like the one thing that I would not get. It's gotta be like peppermint schnapps in my hot cocoa. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time.